thinly traded weekend, to say the least, with the futures market now open. Where did my controller go? Hold on one second. Bloomberg thing is just a little bit too loud. But as we get into the Saturday morning, I'm going to change the way I do these a little bit, especially because now that we're getting into the time frame within, I would say the countdown within the next 4 months. Hey, look at that. It shared my live to me. Maybe that means more people will get this live today. I won't hold my breath, but hopefully some more people will see this. Just, it'd be nice. But anyhow, I'm changing it a little bit because now that we're in this, what we're going to start to do with this bottoming is you get into the time frame where you've gone to the top, you've consolidated. Now we're looking for rejection points to bring us even further down. So does that mean today we come up into the gap areas we talked about yesterday, going into that $1.47, or do we just break down? But we're going to start to look at this from a long-term buying possibility. So the macro versus micro, and then the best price to buy for a long-term, I don't want to say a long-term hold, but a long-term opportunity. And I think this is where a lot of the noise and distraction will come in if you don't pay attention to the micro versus macro, if you're looking for immediate price appreciation, even though we're in a bear market. So our focus is going to start to turn a little bit here, and we're going to try to find that best opportune area for when it does get to the lows of the lows, so we don't get caught or punched in the face when it finally gets down there. We want to have a set plan here together. So we're going to start looking at it from the perspective of, all right, let's look at this from the long-term macro view, and then let's see what has to play out in the micro to get us to that opportunity that we so desire. The worst thing we can do is lose our wits, lose our mindset, lose our toughness when it comes to trading just because we're in a micro downturn. XDC, I'd like to believe, in the micro over the weekend is leading the charge again. Pushed up. We had some suspicion. Well, I had suspicion yesterday we could make a push up before we had that next push down. And is XDC starting to show us something across the market? So we're going to take a look at XRP very deeply. In fact, we're going to look at XRP. So if you're a fan of XRP, you're really going to like this live for whoever shows up, that is. If you could hit that like button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Try to get more people in here, which has been pretty difficult lately, but that's okay. You know, things are not supposed to be easy, especially in bear markets. So we're going to continue to put our head down. And we're going to continue to try to do this the best way possible. With that being said, I do need to find my phone because I was going to look at something as far as the liquidity goes. My phone is, so I'm going to go grab it. 1 second. But as far as the liquidity goes, I do have a very good understanding now of what is starting to happen here. I really do. I have a good understanding of what's going to happen. I feel like what we looked at yesterday plays into very deeply into this micro. I'll turn the comments on in just about a minute or two because I really want to see in a perspective without seeing the comments yet. Look at the 4 hourly. I really believe we're going to come back likely into this area. Has a nice shoulder, head, shoulder. If it comes down below $1.42, it would invalidate this thesis. So I think in the micro, we could have a little bit of price expansion today. Not saying it's going to continue out past the weekend or anything like that. So don't get your hopes up or that this is going to be a long-term sustainable, drive here. But I do believe that we do have an opportunity because we do need a little bit of price expansion, it looks like, just to level out here. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing like that. So don't think that the micro is just going to flip on its head all of a sudden just because we're saying this. But what I think is we need a little bit of a rejection point here, more than likely. And we're going to go over all of this in today's live. So with that being said, good morning. 11:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, March 21st, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. I don't know who's in here yet. We'll get to that in a minute. But if I'm looking at a designated area, I still like what MQ was talking about. I like what we went back and forth about yesterday with this immediate gap area above. I labeled it a little bit like MQ had it yesterday to stay on point so that we didn't have any misunderstandings, because I think what he does is an amazing job. And I wanted to make sure that we had everything on par. We're going to go into all of the stuff we need to talk about from the micro into the macro, I promise you. I deeply promise you that. I do think we're more than likely going to tap this area as we created a rounding formation of a shoulder, head, shoulder. And now we came down to the neckline. So technically, if you're looking at the neckline opportunity, if it holds this area, this would be the defined area to come up and retest this $1.47, $1.48. Could it come up to the HTF supply? I don't know. But if it did, that would be somewhat of a show of strength. So I'm not quite sure it would do that. But I have a lot of interest in this area right here in the micro. But we can't get to the micro before we look at the overall landscape of the market. So in the comments, please let me know. I can't see them right now. I don't want to see them right now. I don't want to be influenced on what I'm saying as of right now. But I would love to hear your perspective. I really would. I would love to see your perspective of what you're seeing develop here this morning. Do you think we have an opportunity for this market to play out in such a way? Wow, I didn't even get this notification on the tablet right here. I thought it did. It only came across my screen. So I highly doubt there's going to be many people in here. I might have screwed myself this morning too, because I put out the short and then I came to the long. So now people are going to watch the short and they're not going to watch the... I've noticed if I put a short out, nobody really watches the longer live, which, you know, that actually makes sense, because if it was me and it was a Saturday and I'm getting ready for tournament games, you know what? I take that back. Don't worry about that, because it's up. That's why I put out both pieces of content, actually. So I'm going to look at it a different way. Now everybody gets to see it. If they've got time, they can watch the long on this Saturday, the longer term video. But if they don't have time, now you guys have the ability to watch the short as well. So actually, I'm changing my mindset. This is a good thing. This is actually a really good thing, because now everybody can see it based on what kind of time they have. You know, who are we to judge somebody else if they don't have time to sit here and watch an hour and a half long, or an hour long, or live, I should say. Actually, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So that's how we're going to look at it this morning. Everybody's got an opportunity to watch this in the shorter, long form. And actually, that makes me pretty happy, to be honest with you. Because now everybody can do this in a defined order, and they can watch this how they need to. So, hey, you know what? That's a good thing. So let's get into this. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Let's do this from a very positive mindset. If we got 5 people in here, we got 5 people in here, and that's all that matters. I don't know until I click on the button, and we will in a second. So right now, the main thing that I'm looking at here is to see if this candle, again, in the 4 hourly, we've got this pull down, but we got this little wick up that gives us a little opportunity. It is almost like a spinning top, but it's aiming to the top side. Could we come up to that $1.47? I think we can. I think we can. I do think we can. It's not a guarantee just because I think we can. But we're going to have to see some invalidation. It's simple. It would be a quick invalidation. And the beauty of it is we're not too far up. $1.4215 breaks, changes the thesis this morning. It's that simple. That simple. But from a positive standpoint, let's be thankful that we have who we have around us. Let's be thankful that we have the ones who continue to show the dedication. And then when we get into the times of the bullish tugs, we'll be able to, you know, lean on a few people that we've come to trust. And that's the beauty of these bear market episodes, because now we'll know who to trust when we get into the bull market. It won't just be the Johnny come lately. You want to have the ones who sit through this and see every microcosm. So if MQ's in here, I don't know, but I will know soon. If he's in here, good person to turn to. Nick, Furby Trades in here. You've got Crypto Cooter. You've got a bunch of people. I don't know if Logical Patriot will be in here, but he's led a lot of good information here over the past couple of weeks. There's a few others. Crypto Cooter and Silver Days, and there's just a few other people that I could point to that I know have been in here through other cycles. So you kind of try to gravitate towards those people. I know Mark Caston's been a big person in here lately. Tanya, obviously, she hasn't been a lot in the lives, but she's been dealing with a lot of stuff, but she's been in the Telegram a lot, so she's definitely somebody to turn to. There's a lot of people. I know I'm missing a lot of people. But anyhow, so we know the short term. We'll get to the short term in a minute. But this is where we have to keep our perspective. We have to keep our perspective in the long term. And yes, we do have a head and shoulders that is built out, so there is no guarantee to break up. It could very well fall through right now in this thinly traded weekend. Any propagation of war would push us down very quickly. But that's why I keep pointing to that area of the $1.42. If it breaks below this area, $1.4218, forget this entire thesis of even a retest. The things that cause concern is the fact that Bitcoin has gone up into that resistance area and just cannot seem to hold that area. So, in my opinion, I wouldn't be making any fancy trades here. I would be looking to top up a short if you guys are leverage traders rather than taking out a long in the middle point. That's just my opinion. We're still in that middle. We're kind of in the finesse zone. So whether you're taking a long or a short, we're in the middle. So you would have wanted to take a long around $1.39.5, $1.40. In the short, you would have wanted to take around $1.56. However, there are reassertion points like that $1.48 gap area, let's just say, if it came up there. So, but that's neither here nor there. We'll look at that in the micro. In the macro, we're looking for the best opportunity. And this is where you're going to gain a lot more value in what I do. We're going to keep looking at, like we did in 2023, the possible opportunities to buy. I'm going to tell you right now, 86.5 cent area, 86, 87 cents is where we need to start looking. If and when it comes down there, it's going to be that layering in protocol, especially if it comes down and taps the bottom of the descending wedge. And then we might have to do it all the way through. And unfortunately, guys, it could last until August. Because the apex takes us out to August, and we're not going to sugarcoat it. If we're going to do it with the expansion, let's just say, we're going to fade it until the elections. So the easiest opportunity for the government, the Republicans, I'm not a politician. I don't like politics because I think the right and left lead us both into slaughter. And it makes us fight each other instead of coming as a one-minded universal thought process. And for anybody who understands the egg theory suggests that we're all living and we're all the same person, living each and every life one time so that we can all become gods, if you believe in that kind of a thing. So if that's the case, you are me and I am you, and we're both living opposite parts, and we've all lived the same exact life, and now we have to continue to do it. So with that being said, if we can get into one mindset, and that's a big conspiracy, so if you don't understand the egg theory, you won't know what I'm talking about. It might have just slapped you in the face this morning. But that means we're all the same person, reliving from every single possible angle to become a god. And I like to think that. So if we're thinking on the same mindset, 86.4 cents. This is the ultimate cup and handle. And if you're somebody who's theorizing about when do we buy XRP, big cup and handle, and we're going to have to buy on the bottom of the wedge. So it could be 86 cents. Could be 86 cents. And then it could extend out here because we do have an election at the end of the year. So what is the best optic? Well, to me, the best optic is if they come in and they want to make things look good, they're going to buy it, or they're going to bring it up from the bottom, and all of a sudden you have 400 or 500%. Is it easier to do it from $1.50? Or is it easier to do it from 86 or 57? So, in my opinion, in the macro, we're very bullish. And we are very bullish. I'm just saying, in my opinion, if this doesn't break down, you're going to see expansion, and we're going to make wealth like you never thought possible, because it's going to be just like 2023, as we waited through it in 2024 and got that big dip to 38.5 cents in July of 24. And then we had that huge expansion in November to December into January, which capitalized and capsized in July of 25 for XRP. It's that same ritual we did again. And you know it's the right time because the viewership goes down. And I'm not just talking about here. I'm talking about in cryptocurrency. You know it's the right time because we're in contraction, not expansion. So that's when you know you're in the proper alignment. Right now we're in the proper alignment. So the descending wedge, we're looking for this third tap. And then we can start talking about the 20% to the bottom. I like to start buying on the support structure, which would lead us somewhere between 20% from the bottom But I will be very skeptical when we get down here because I do know it could drop another 35% if in fact we keep coming down this descending wedge. So we have to see how it approaches. So what I'm expecting here in the weekly is some kind of rejection here and then a pull back down to tap that trend line in the stochastic. That's what I'm looking for. So for me, the best thing to look for is we're looking for this descending wedge to fill out. This is what we need to look for. And if we look at it in the micro, even on this descending wedge, of the micro side of a descending wedge, which is just a shorter form, you could look at it like this, which I'm not sure that that would hold. But I suppose we have to do our due diligence, and this says about 95 cents. I don't think that's going to hold. But that's a tighter formation that we could come down to. I still like the fact that we come down a little bit lower to 85. I do. Or 86, because that's the technical target of a breakdown. And I think that would be our best or no, I don't think. I know that that's where wealth will be made. In this cycle, we have to be patient. We can swing trade. We can do all this other nonsense in between. But for the here and now, we have to focus on that layer. I'm just, from me to you, we've done this in 21. We did this in 23. We're going to do this again in 26. So this is how we need to do this. Somebody said sound. Okay, the sound is working on my end. So can somebody tell, because I just turned this on, it popped up. Can somebody tell Amused that the sound is, he might have to reset it if he's not hearing a sound. So in the macro, that is where I'm looking. No, there's no sugarcoating this. I'm looking at that in the macro. That's where I want to, that's where I would like to take this from. I want to take this from the micro, but also look at the macro for that big opportunity. So then the macro, it's telling us our big opportunity right now. And you have to be patient, guys. I promise you, if you come in here every day, I will walk with you during this journey. We will walk together. They tried to cut me off again. I am not surprised, Amused Reindeer. I'm not surprised because I'm trying to give gold this morning. And if we walk, I promise I will walk with you during this journey the entire way. My 5-year anniversary is in 3 days. On Tuesday, March 24th, I've been here 5 years on YouTube. I've never missed a single show. Never. Not a single day of giving content. So I will walk with you during the good and the bad. I promise you. So we're going to walk together for this third bear market together. And we've nailed the top in the other two at the top of the bowl. And we're going to do it again. Except this time when we walk together, we're going to do it more collectively. And we're going to have more of a unit. And by the time we get to the top of the bowl, life's going to change for everybody. This is going to be a life-altering cycle. I guarantee it. Because this is the cycle that gets us up to $6.31 or 41 cents. And imagine anybody who buys it at 88 or 56 more preferably, we're going to go from a $5,600 value in XRP possibly up to 8,800. And we're all going to be walking around if you have 10,000 tokens with at least 60 grand. Now you tell me that that's not life altering. Now the ones who will say, well, Tom, that's not good enough. We've been sitting. You don't know anything. You're just listening to the FUD stations and you need to tune it out. You need to tune it out because nobody wants to be talking about that nonsense when you're talking about taking 55 or 8,000 and turning it into 65 grand. Nobody wants to hear about, hey, we're not turning it into $1,000 a token. You're not meant to. We're looking for this opportunity each and every cycle. So this is how you stay ahead of inflation. And we've got to tune out the noise of the speculators who want to trap us within our own emotions, basically. I do think we're going to get a little bit of a spike up here unless that $1.42 level is invalidated. It's just my own personal opinion. And I've given the parameters of where it can be invalidated. And yeah, is it a risk? You better believe it's a risk. There's no risk, no reward here. So $1.42. You know, if that gets invalidated, okay. We got more stuff to talk about. But as of right now, I'm looking at opportunity. And we'll see how this plays out in this little thing. So, what is this? That is a massive super chat. Is that for real? Where'd it go? I just seen it. I know there was a big super chat here. Did it delete on my screen? Let me refresh this. It showed a that had to have been a mistake. Because that was rather large. Did I misread that? Let me see if it's on here. Can somebody confirm, was there a $299 super chat on there? Because it deleted it off my screen. The content you're trying to access is gone. Was that for real or what? Red, I seen a donation and I don't know what happened to it. It deleted it off my screen. Can somebody verify? Was that really a $299 super chat? Because that just seems out of... or $199. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. It popped up on my screen when I first turned this on and then it shut it off. Unless the person deleted it so it wouldn't stay up there. It was there for a second. $199.99. Who was that? Was that Red? Red Barachets. Thank you so much for that. It says the content you're trying to access was deleted. So Red, thank you so much for that $199.99 super chat. It almost made me fall back out of my chair when I seen it, to be honest with you. Holy smokes. So Red, if you're in here, if you want to comment just so I can thank you, that's unbelievable. Thank you for that show of support. That's more super chats than I've gotten by one person and like combined in the last couple of weeks. That's crazy. Thank you so much for that pay it forward mentality. Holy smokes. Red sent a $199 super chat. That's okay. You need to go in there. Oh yeah. Thank you, Red, so much. If you're in here, I don't even know what to say. That's a rather large super chat. Like, that's unbelievable. So, as we looked in the micro and we looked for the best opportunity, again, for anybody just coming in, the best opportunity in this group's opinion, we've got 86.6 cents roughly, but we've also got over the top where we created support. You could look at 97, but I'm looking at that 86 cent very firmly for the macro. So that's going to be our building block from 86 down to 56 roughly, depending on how far we go. And it's in my opinion, we'll probably go through the summer and have to be a little bearish. But then by the time we get into the fall time, I think this year around August, September, into the pumpkins in October, we're going to have an unbelievable breakout. So we're going to have time to do this together. And as long as you guys come in here every day, I promise I will walk with you each and every day through this cycle. Just like we did in 21 and 23. I don't only promise, I guarantee you we're going to walk through this together. And in my titles, you're going to see more about the macro rather than the bearish micro. Because we have to stay in the right elevation. Yes, it was Red, $199.99. That is unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And Red didn't even want credit. He deleted it. That's unbelievable. That's a humble person right there. And I can't thank you enough for that. Seriously, that's you just made my weekend. I don't know what to say. You made my weekend. So we've seen the macro. Now the micro, as we talked about, I still think we have a little bit of positivity here in the micro. I think what we're trying to do, because we held this area of the bearish confirmation zone as of right now, which I don't think it's overall going to hold long term, because I do think we're going to fill out that descending wedge properly in time. Could take several months still. But as we talked about, if anybody was in here yesterday, we have a shoulder, head, shoulder. This is the back test right here, in my opinion. If we hold this, beautiful back test, and then we can come up to that $1.47, $1.48. Does it end there? More than likely it would. More than likely we would end in that fair value gap zone. But could we come into the HTF supply? If we do, that would be a sound reversal, and that would be more of a bullish area. But I'm not sure we can get up there. I have no doubt we can get into that micro time frame, into the FVG area. So does that mean that we have a big opportunity coming just in a short trade or like a short-term swing? I think so. I think there's a better than not opportunity where you could take a shot. However, you have to make sure if it comes below $1.42, it becomes invalidated, this movement. So I think there's an opportunity here, and we'll see how this goes. I love to see how this goes. So just to say hi this morning, Mark Caston, Crazy Paul, welcome in, and thanks for being in town. Over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. MQ, good morning, my brother. One of the most influential parts of this community because of his knowledge and his willingness to teach is MQ. Thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor as well. Venice, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for second month. Dusty House Crypto News. Silver Days, Arelli, Mark Powell. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, please hit that like button, everybody. I'm encouraged to see 76 people here, even with March Madness today. It's actually very encouraging. Dan Marginal, Big Dog, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor, along with William. Creamy Goodness says, hey, Tommy, April showers bring May flowers, the raindrops like the market, and then the flowers grow like your portfolio. Plant your seeds when the soil is right. Amen to that, and great analogy. I love it. I can't wait until I can go out back and start planting all my stuff. I created a big area last year that now I'm even working on right now as it thaws out. CFD, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army second month of Dusty House Crypto News. XRP Defender, good morning. Let's see. Ruby Rain, welcome in. Good morning to you, brother. Mark Powell, welcome in. Logical Patriot, thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Chuck, good morning, and rest in peace, Chuck Norris. As we know, yesterday he passed away. He didn't pass away. He actually went to take over the reins of the Angels. They needed some more muscle, so he got rid of his body and allowed his soul to flourish so that he could take care of evil. That's how I'm looking at it. God called for an army of muscle, so he asked for Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris relentlessly gave up his human body so his spirit can fight for all of us. And that's the way I'm looking at it. Juan, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XP589 Moon Badge. Morning, Tom. Waiting on my XRP come down patiently, although I already acquired a couple coins like FET and DOT. Those seem to me to be very close to their support. Thanks. Hey, nothing wrong with taking a shot, my friend. Nothing wrong with taking a shot. Just pay attention to the breakdown levels and what we would look at for a rejection sometime in the near future. Zalim, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Amused Reindeer, welcome in. Crypto Cruder, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge and a very trusted mod in here. Sound is fine for us. You may have to reset YouTube. Thanks for letting everybody know. Love it. Yes, refresh stream if having issues. Let's see. Trying to bring that positivity from now on. Forget about all the negative. There's enough negative in the world. We're just going to be positive. I'm going to try to be upbeat. And we're going to take advantage of the moment together. Because the last time we were trying to take advantage of a bear market, I had about 30 people in the lives, 40 people. Now we have double that even in a bear market. I am so blessed. I'm so blessed. Miss Jan, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge as you're getting closer to that 6-year badge. 51 months now. That is unbelievable. Says, hey, Tom, appreciate all that you do. I'm hoping we have a good place to buy back. And we're going to have a great place. We're going to have a great place, and we're going to walk together through this. Even if it doesn't go down there, and let's say we invalidated the descending wedge a little bit higher to the top side, we're going to still figure it out right there as well. We're going to take advantage of moments of opportunity where it feels like we could, and then we just have to look. If you want to take a shot with XRP, it's very simple. Support structure, you put that stop loss on a spot under $1.42, and if you want to take a quick trade and try to ride it to $1.47, so be it. $1.48, see if we can get above it. Similar to the 5% possible move we had with XDC. We look at 5%. Could we get up to the top? Maybe. I'm looking more at a short-term move to try to see how this FEG area fills if we do push in that direction. But that is what I think is possibly going to happen here unless we break down. And I've given you the parameters of that micro breakdown. If it comes below that area, no reason to finesse it. We're just trying to finesse it when we can. Rod Barachitz, thank you so much for that super chat. You have no idea how much that means to me. I don't even know if I could put it into words how important that kind of stuff is for what I do. Honestly. I'm actually going to put towards all the super chats towards a little fund because I'm going to become a certified financial advisor, a CFA. I'm taking the certification course. I actually have a phone call on Monday. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but it's about a 6-month course. So I'm trying to have better credentials for this entire community. So anything anybody sends going forward, I'm just going to put towards that certification as far as the super chats and things like that. So that actually goes a long way. So thank you, Red. You didn't even know it, but you are paying it forward in a way you couldn't even understand. That's going to benefit this whole community. Chris B, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's on with your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Tom, what's your thoughts on XDC? I've been trying not to FOMO. I love XDC. And XDC seems to be playing ahead of the rest of the market. It's just, it's still in that continuous downturn. We're in that continuous downturn, but everything needs to always retest the breakpoints. And right now, XDC, was that an opportunity missed? I don't know. Came up here to, let's see, that's the XDC XRP pairing. We've absolutely trying to form something here. Whether it's a symmetrical triangle, if you look at it like this, but you can see it at a clear breakout. It's having a clear breakout of that little symmetrical area, so we can evolve it. And if it does break from here, I mean, you could expect a little bit more volatility to the upside. It just all depends what happens. 4 hourly's oversold, so what you'd be looking for is a back test here to see if we hold this breakout. No guarantees here, especially with the market cycle. But now there is an opportunity for a little bit of upward tick. So let's just see what happens here. Well, we'll continue to watch XDC. It seems to always be an outlier to what's coming. So does it give me opportunity or a good feeling about what could happen with XRP? Absolutely. It seems to be one of the first in line. So let's see if we can hold this like 1.5, 2 cent range and try to push back up into that little gap area. So that's what I'm very focused on this morning. If it's gonna happen for XRP, I believe it would happen today going into tomorrow. So it's a very, very big moment to watch for right now. Now, this is a very dangerous moment to try to take an opportunity. Don't get me wrong. So I said you got to watch that $1.42 level like a hawk. And if we fall below it, this little structure is invalidated. And then it'll just come down to $1.39-ish. And then we'll see if it has to fall through to $1.34. The futures market is closed. And as the week closed, we closed on top of the symmetrical triangle, which could get us a little bit more volatility to the upside. But we have to make sure that that structure doesn't break over the weekend. And so far, so good. Remember, the futures, that's the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, that doesn't have to deal with the up and down momentum or lack of momentum or, lack of volume over the weekend. So that's why it's very important for this pattern to stay pat. Let's see. David, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Vado Damas, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge along with the Cannabis Podcast. Cannabis Podcast, very trusted mod in here as well. Vado Damas says, I've been squirreling away HBAR at 9 cents, possibly not smart. I wouldn't say it's not smart. It's just, if you're squirreling it away, just play it down. It's going to come 9 cents is that support structure right now. Now, if it fell below there and this ends up being a topping reversal, yeah, it could come down to 7, 8, maybe worse. But as of right now, you're buying support, selling resistance. So the next resistance tap would be somewhere around 9.6, maybe 9.7. It's not that it's a bad decision because it's still in an inverse head and shoulders. It's just we don't know where that overwhelming support will come from. Do we break down even more? One of the good signs long term is that 9.3 cent price is going to be well in the dust by the time we get to where we're going with the HBAR. Some people say it has bad fundamentals and yada, yada, yada. I don't particularly agree with that. I think it's doing just fine fundamentally. But yeah. Totally Awesome says SEC and CFTC made XRP a commodity and XDC is a true utility digital tool asset too. Completely different things, yet retail is celebrating a loss. Yep. I can't disagree with that. I talked about the digital commodity for XRP. I even put that down in my Facebook postings. I talked about it yesterday on here as well. Please hit that like button like Miss Jan said. Vadodama says, what are your thoughts about the Clarity Act and its passing? Sounds like some movement is a buy the news moment. I think it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I think by the end of it, it'll be a sell the news event because cryptocurrency is not meant to have continued regulation. So I think if that gets passed, it'll initially drive the price down upon, after whatever the exit rally is. And then we'll finish out the bear market. And then we'll have some kind of big rally. I don't like the Clarity Act for what it stands for. I think it's a complete slap in the face to us as crypto holders. It takes all the power away from retail, the little bit of power we had, and gives it all to the banks, the institutions, the market makers, institutional investors, the central banks, and takes it away from retail. Nobody has to agree with me on that, but that's what it does. I have a lot of experience in this kind of stuff with assets, and that's exactly what it's doing. It's taking the ticket away from us and handing it over to the bigger players. That's the truth. I mean, we don't have to want to listen to it. We don't have to want to believe it. We don't even want to have to trust what I'm saying. But the bottom line is that's the guidance given within the Clarity Act. So if you dig it apart from the bottom out, unfortunately, it works against us in every facet known to man. So it's not cool. Right now, in the 4 hourly, we're back testing or trying to back test the trend line. So as we've been saying, if we're going to get some kind of movement, it's going to be today, and it'll be very hostile. You'll go from this $1.43.7 or $1.43 or wherever it decides to bounce from, and you'll see it up at $1.48 likely before we ever get to tomorrow if this plays out. If this plays out for Bitcoin, what we would end up seeing, and I don't know if we're going to get this or not. That's the tricky part because we already came up here once. You'd all of a sudden see, for whatever reason, Bitcoin seemingly starting to put in a rally towards this 72 to 74K, but I'm not sure it can happen. It's just that's what we're watching for on today. That's it. It's such a defined area in the short term. Totally Awesome says, I think it's funny, and if you know the right asset, you actually have the ability to be a bank without dealing with them. Look again into Impel. Oh, I know, XDC. That's why it's going to be my main holding. And I absolutely agree with you. That's why I ride it every single time for the up and down. But long-term XDC, I think, has the most potential out of anything on the board, and that includes XRP. I'm just saying. And that's why they drag XDC down. I think from a nominal percentage gain, I think XDC is gonna light up XRP for what it can do. Just because of where we're gonna be at price-wise. I think XDC one day we're gonna see it over $1. I do. I really do. And from where we're at right now, that's like a 30-something X gain from here. So I really believe that that's going to come one day. There's so much adoption news, not even just adoption. There's so much integration that, oh, man. And there's only so many people that I think Totally Awesome is one of the ones who understands it the most. He understands what I understand with XDC. And it's something special. It is something special. And I think that's where we get the distraction, where we look at everything else but XDC and retail. I love XDC. Oh man, I do. Laugh out loud. They made XDC and Ethereum with 18 decimals for a reason. I like that. I like the way you're thinking, my friend. It gives us a lot of forward guidance. I'm going super hard on Bitcoin, Ethereum at the bottom. I don't blame you, MQ. I don't blame you just because of the current environment we're in. We would expect Bitcoin to probably have a re-rally and break that all-time high and then some. I don't know, what would further guidance be? If it was to hold properly, you're talking about that 180 to 200,000 maybe. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but it looks like we're going to have a lot of forward movement sometime down the road, especially with the way that they're trying to get corporations, institutions, they're trying to get the other entities in the stock market to buy into it by pushing off and putting in, they're basically making them sell as collateral their own shares of common stock, further devalue their own shareholders so that they can buy into this kind of stuff. 49K, I love that so much for Bitcoin. It's an area I've been looking at for a long time. It starts at 59K for Bitcoin, in my opinion, only because we have an all-time cup and handle MQ. And I do look at those areas deeply. But I do have it extending all the way down to about 49K. That's the bottom. That's so funny. That's exactly where I have the bottom. 55K for the retest of the cup and handle extending down to 49. That is so crazy because that's exactly where I have the bottom part. 49,400. That's a lot of confluency. See, that's why I need you in your MQ. It makes me feel better about what I'm looking at. And somebody said 58. Ironically, it starts at about 59,800 and it works its way down. 55,000 is the back test in real time of the cup and handle. So this is all confluency we're seeing. Totally Awesome says Impel is the ISO 20022 messaging that's coded inside XDC. It's making everything into XRC20 contracts. Great information. Unbelievable. Yes, thank you. By the way, I was looking at your cup and handle structures last night. Oh, awesome, MQ. Hopefully it makes sense how I have it set up. Because I used it in a different way. To try to match it up with the bottom here. Now, obviously, you could look at it like this, but I was trying to match this up with that bottom area and making my own little handle support in case it fell back within. But the main part of this cup and handle is looking at the resistance breakdown, and then look at it as support. This would just match up with if we did have to come down to the bottom of that zone at 49,000. So I like to try to match it up as well. He says, MQ says the cup and hand, or the XRP handle is also sitting at about 0.5 fib of the cup. Ooh. So that would be the 50% area for the Fibonacci retracement. That's a huge area for anybody who understands the Fibonacci. That's great, actually. So that'd be the 0.5 extension. That's great. What would, if it didn't hold that, what would it have to come down? What is it, the 0.218, I believe? No. What would be next on the 0.32? I don't know. I guess it just depends. Which the measured move of that cup would take us about $2.10, and that's around the target I mentioned last month. So crazy confluency. Absolutely. That $2.10, I remember we've been talking about that as well collectively. You brought it up a lot as well. That's that area we would have to push back to get back into a bull market, ironically. That's the crazy part. And then I know there's an extension out to 220 something, but getting over that 210 is the biggest area. I agree with you. And then if we could use that and maybe back test it a little bit below at the $1.90, there's a lot to talk about there. But I 100% agree with you. That's why we need to start looking at the macro more and not be afraid of the micro. Sure, the micro might bring us down in time, but we really do need to look at it. Yep. I don't want to look at it much deeper either than the 0.5. I agree with you there, because if we come down too far, it's going to invalidate that whole structure, and then we're in trouble. Then we'd have to start talking about that 3 and 5 cent XRP, which nobody wants to talk about. I'd prefer to have it hold the 0.5 in that descending wedge, get that third tap, start bouncing out and have this nice spike out to that $2 plus. Try to start all the over time, start to play out to that $6.50 target. But we need that descending wedge to hold. If that doesn't hold, it will invalidate that whole structure. For the ones who are sticking around, I'm telling you, you're going to benefit with this. You want to walk with us, not against us. We want to walk in this together. XRP right now is still being rejected by that descending triangle, which is a series of lower highs and flat support. So the lows are stable, the highs are lower, and then we break down. Still hasn't invalidated the structure. The only thing we're looking for is to see if we get another rejection point up in this area and see if it brings us down from there, or if we just break down. You'll know more if that $1.42 gives way. $1.42 gives way, it's just going to come apart. That's the bottom line. But right now in the stochastic, we're back testing this little move as well. Yeah, the micro is short-term trades. We don't want to lose sight. I agree. If the big picture, so thank you. I agree with you there, MQ. That's why we're trying to take advantage as much as we can of these swing trades. Whether you're doing it from a standpoint of leverage or just spot, either way, I don't care. We're looking for opportunities in the micro to build our portfolio for that ultimate macro buy. That's my opinion. We're trying to build up our portfolio into that August time frame. If it happens sooner, it happens sooner. But that's where I'm designating it out. It's probably going to take until August. Then into September and October will be that finer movement. By the time we see the pumpkins, we should be on the right track. Micro 5, 30, 60 minute is noise to the average spot holder. Absolutely. And that's because the average spot holder has the hodl mentality. You know what I started calling it, MQ, the hodl? Hold over displacement latency. You know what that means? Hold over displacement latency. So I started to tell the people that hodling is not a good thing. You're holding over the displacement latency. It's my own little terminology, which means no matter if you have displacement over the top, if you have gaps or anything like that, that the long mindset holder, they will hold through that gain and voluntarily watch it come down another 50%, even though they had massive opportunity to get out in the displacement or the gap areas and things like that. And they're going to play to the advantage of the dark pools and the high frequency traders, which are nothing more than supercomputers that are trading for the big wigs. So that's what I'm starting to call the hodl. They want us to hold over displacement latency. That's what I'm starting to look at it as. And I'm calling displacement the gap areas as well because I can't say HOGL. So it's just something that I'm trying to try to push to everybody. So again, what that would mean is, let's just say you're holding on and it comes up here to retest this area and it shows a clean rejection. The hodlers will buy here and hold on during the rejection and just watch it go down another 50. MQ says we have a great team in here, guys, and it's not stuffy like you find in other groups. 100% I agree with that. And you know what the beauty of it is, MQ? Look at the same names we're seeing day after day. These are the names we want to get acquainted to in the bull market. Because if anybody's willing to sit through the bear market, they know what's going to happen in the bull market. And this is something I've said in past cycles. So then when the Johnny comes lately in here, you don't want to be listening to them who keep saying buy the bull market if they weren't in here telling you the status of the bear market. Just like other channels and other communities, not just on YouTube. You want to be watching people who understand the bear market. Do you know how many people have called the low now? Do you know how many people have called the low as if it's a foregone conclusion? And one of them that I'll talk about is BCB, because everybody talks about it. He called and said, we're nowhere near the bottom, and we're coming down under $1 and all this other crap. And now all of a sudden the bottom's in. He changes more times than a dancer changes outfits in a fucking play. That's why I can't trust him. He just goes with the narrative lately. So when everybody talks about that, I mean, we've got to be a set defined order. We're not changing that bear market target unless it gets invalidated. How could you possibly say here it got invalidated when nothing's changed? The only way for this to be invalidated, and MQ knows damn well like I do, the only way for this to be invalidated in short order is for this descending wedge to be invalidated. The only way in short order for us to say that this entire pattern's invalidated to the upside, I'm sorry, you can't say it here. I don't care what any Tom, Dick, and Harry says. Until we get above $1.77, we can't even talk about this being invalidated to the downside. How could you possibly say that the bottom's in if you're still inside of a all-time descending wedge on the all-time cup and handle? It doesn't even make sense. How could you say that we flipped this narrative where we're still below the HTF zone? I'm just asking an honest question. How could you even say that we flipped this narrative if we haven't even been able to come back above the descending triangle at the very least? But if we haven't come above the HTF supply, how could we possibly say we flipped this narrative? It's impossible. To make that claim is simply not true. It's not true. So my job is to keep you guys from listening to the horse shit and keeping you on the right path, as well as it's my job as well. Furby Trades, welcome in, my brother. So proud to see you in here. And Tom's very, very trusted part of my community. A very trusted mod is so dedicated like MQ to helping everybody, even though we all have jobs. It's slightly different for all of us, but we all have jobs we do. MQ says they deserve it most. The ones that are practicing, involved in marking up their own charts, following along. If you are one of them, congrats on investing in yourself. Don't just rely on us for targets. Amen to that. We're trying to teach you to fish. We're not trying to bait your hook. We're not trying to cast your line. We're not trying to find your bait. We're not trying to take the fish off. We're not trying to cook the fish. And we're not ultimately trying to put you in the right spot to fish. Well, we are trying to put you in the right spot to fish. We're trying to find you a plentiful lake that can allow you the ability to access your given skills. And the only way to activate those skills is to be here in this time frame. I'm going to go grab my mail real quick. Thank you very much. I see you got the good mail on this Saturday.
Yeah, I like kind of day for both parts.
That's good. Have a good day. Thank you very much. All right. Anyhow, I just wanted to grab the mail. I've been getting some mail because, like I said, I'm going to be a certified financial advisor, and I've gotten a couple schools that have gotten back to me. I do have a business degree, not a long-term one, but I have a business degree from a community college, and I've had a couple different certifications: certified dietitian and nutritionist, certified personal trainer in 3 different ways. I went through American Council of Energy, I went through the World Instructing Trading Schools, and I went through the North American Fitness Trading, whatever the fuck it's called. So, but now I want to evolve my skills in what I do here, and I'm going to be a certified financial advisor so that I can have more credibility in what I do within this very community. I'm really trying to build my craft in 2026 of reliability. So then I won't have to put I'm not a financial advisor on the bottom. But that's going to take me, I believe it could take me until the end of the year, depending on when the course starts, the certification class. So all of your guys' support, don't think it's going unnoticed. The big super chat we got today is going towards those classes, I guarantee it. So every super chat I get and everything I do, I'm using to pay and evolve myself. That's why the classes are so important as well for anybody taking the classes. I'm going to try to be a certified badass. You're right about that. I told you, I'm in this to win it. How did we gain to 50,300 subscribers? There's no way we got 50 subscribers yesterday. Huh, that's crazy. We're at 50,270 something. That means we got at least 22 subscribers overnight. Huh. I don't care about token price. I'm building my own subnets with XDC as my tokenization engine because the DTCCRK securities all use XDC to do the tokenization and mint, or do the other networks. Ooh, I like that a lot. Totally awesome. I know you've been talking about that. I've been researching a lot about this. I don't know if you still have my email or on the Telegram, but feel free to send me that information as you find it out, because I would love to expand on that with you. We might even have to have a phone call here to talk about this. I'm being dead serious. Like, we may need to have a talk about this. And XPR is great for the front end because they're the ones who are dealing with the credit unions going forward in this new framework, in this new world. I wish XPR was on Kraken, but it is not as of right now. We do need to talk, Totally Awesome. We absolutely need to talk. It's becoming more prevalent to the timing we're in right now. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this live this morning. I tried to give you everything I got this morning. Michigan starts in about 10 to 15 minutes, the round of 32. Got to go get my belts out, my championship belts. There is a short that I put out in case anybody didn't have time to watch the live. I don't care if it's conflicting and I don't get a ton of views on everything. I just want everybody to have the information that they need. The short only got 314 views so far in the first hour and 11 minutes, but I've been doing this live for most of the time the short's been out. But I want everybody to have the information that they have. I know you're swamped, but I think an app for your own channels would be so epic. I'm building multiple, and you could circumvent all the pay sites and censorship. Interesting. One of the cool things, if you notice, I found a way to go into the advanced settings and turn off the ads. So I kind of went around what YouTube said. And I went deeper and deeper, and I found a way. Did you notice the ads got shut off today? I'm sure YouTube's not very happy about that, but I circumvented the ads. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I turned off something that I technically am not supposed to turn off. You said you're going to look into that 6 months ago. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking to me? Yes, financial advisor, just not. No, I wouldn't be a certified financial planner. See, that's a CFP to protect your assets. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking to me about looking into it 6 months ago? Oh, XPR is well. I got you. No, I know you have. I've looked into XPR a lot. I've been studying it a lot. That doesn't mean I haven't been looking into it. I'm just saying it's a way to go about it. I agree with you, Zal, and that's why I started looking into it, to be honest with you, because of you in the beginning when you started talking about the credit unions and things like that. You'll email me about it. Excellent Cannabis podcast. Excellent. Oh, I've been looking into a lot of stuff, my friends. There's a lot that I've been trying to acquaint myself with. There's just so much stuff coming in the next frontier. It's going to be tricky. Oh, the wallet itself. Yes. That's a picture I need to take. Here, glad you brought that up. Oftentimes I get swamped and I forget about things too. Let's see. Okay, I took a screenshot of that so I can remember. But yeah, so I thank everybody for tuning in this morning. Please try to learn all of this the best you can with the market cycles, especially where we're going. And if we were to invalidate it at any point, we'll be the first to tell you. But that's how we're going to find the best possible positioning for this third bear market we're in together. The first two, we nailed the bottom together and we sold the top together if you had the faith. This third time is going to be the caveat. This third time will be the caveat, but I want to go get set up for the Michigan game. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Red, for that unbelievable super chat so I didn't have to work for free today. And I can put that towards my certification course. So thank you all for that. And remember, when you invest in me, you invest in yourself as well, because I am investing in each and every one of you every single day for 5 years in a row. 5 years on the Tuesday of this week coming up on the 24th will be my 5-year anniversary. And the beauty of it is I've never missed a single day.